So my screen is visible, yeah. Okay. So the name of the course is Research Methodology in Natural Sciences, and this is the first week discussion. And I am Udiptya. I'm not audible. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now I think it's okay. Yeah. So the name of the course is Research Methodology in Natural Sciences, and I request everyone else to kindly mute yourself now. And yeah, but yeah, you can obviously unmute uh, when we are discussing the stuff. But yeah, just for the time's sake. So this is the Research Methodology in Natural Sciences, and this is the week 1 discussion. I am Udiptya. I am from IIT Madras, and just to give a brief background about myself, I have done my BTech in biotechnology from Delhi Technological University, and then directly joined as a PhD student at IIT Madras. So I am currently in biomedical engineering, applied mechanics and biomedical engineering department here, and I primarily work on fiber optic sensors, nucleic acid amplification tests, nanomaterials, synthesis and characterization. And interestingly, I have already done around 3 or so courses as NPTEL TA, and fortunately one of them was this course that I had, like the Research Methodology in Natural Science. I had already done this course as a TA like a year before this. So basically the previous, when it was offered, I was a TA essentially then at that time. And if there is any discussions or any doubts as of, you are free to mail me. I will try my best to answer your queries. Obviously there are forums, and obviously it is nice to post it on the forums, but if you have something that is particularly to the problem solving sessions, pertaining to the problem solving sessions, so it's good that you can directly mail me here. So I'll see if I will try my best to answer your queries. So going ahead, this week essentially delves on philosophical foundations of science. So some topics that we will discuss. So how I usually do this course is, I usually basically summarize whatever is there, the main topics, and then maybe we'll go for some problem solving questions. Yeah, and so we can evolve ourselves on how the format is. So it's not like we stick on to it. If you have any feedbacks, we are free to take feedback, and I will try to manipulate myself accordingly. So the first, basically, we'll work on the philosophical foundations of science, which majorly delves on particular topics of what is science, subjective thinking uh, versus objective thinking, idealism versus materialism, and causality. So the basic, what I can say is, the basic aim of science is to find out character or character or properties, yeah, on and laws essentially, which are governing. Yeah, you have raised your hand.
Sir, shall these sessions be recorded? So
Yeah,
that
anyway, you can address me directly as Udipta, but yeah, this sessions will be recorded, and I will upload it. Additionally, the PPTs will also be there in the NPTEL folder. So yeah, you can readily access it.
thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So the Essentially, it is meant to find the character, properties, and laws governing the various things and phenomena that we see around us, that we see around in the natural world. So, going ahead, what is science? Is it is science is our attempt to find out the truth about the nature. Yeah, we as scientists, we essentially know all these things, but sometimes to put it in a definition, it's a bit difficult. It's a systematic way of seeking answers. We already have a lot of questions, but there is essentially a systematic way to correctly answer those questions, or correctly seek their answers. There is a systematic method essentially. So the starting point, where to start it? It's the starting point essentially is go for a collective and cumulative experience. So what is collective experience? It's like you may experience one thing, you may experience a particular event, but that might not be experienced by some of your colleagues. It's only something that you experience on your own. Yeah. So that is a that is a like only a personal experience, not a collective experience. So for science to start, you need something that is a collective. You should have enough witnesses or enough persons agreeing to that experience. And what is cumulative? It's not. It should not be a one in a century event, or like it's like never happening and only had happened once. It should be cumulatively happening. So that's a cumulative experience. Further, this collective experience is organized, crystallized, and systemized. Then it's called as a scientific method, and that's how we get our knowledge. Yeah, we base our scientific studies on these collective, on these organized and crystallized, systemized libraries, and then we go and progress our science towards the further future studies essentially. So this is what scientific method is also. Yeah. So now, what is truth? Because science essentially is our attempt to find out the truth about the nature. Yeah. So the truth essentially is correspondence between the ideas and the objective reality. So we will understand what is objective reality and subjective reality, but for now it's the correspondence between the ideas and the objective reality. So so what this first line essentially means is, when we have an idea and which can explain an objective phenomenon, and we can predict the outcomes of the experiments, then we say that this idea reflects the truth. So we should have the ability to explain and also predict the outcomes of the experiment. Then we say that okay, this idea reflects the truth. But then this truth has some conditions. Yeah, this truth needs to be continuously checked, modified, and correct. And then the truth is also unique to given conditions. Where in which conditions this truth is tested, we have to mention those conditions. That may vary with space, time, temperature, etc. These are all parameters of your experiments. Yeah, that is the truth here. For example, my belief that a computer is in the room is true. If and only, so this belief is true if and only if there is actually is a computer in the room. Yeah, you understood the thing? You believe that the computer is in the room, but that computer should be in a matter form, that should be in the room. Then it is actually a truth. Now that we are talking about subjective versus objective, as you all have gone through the course, I think one of you may be able to explain it. Anyway, we will go on to the discussion anyway. But yeah, just asking for so that people can join in and discuss. Anyway, anybody want to unmute and say it's okay to do so? Yeah. Guesses are also welcome anyway.
Subjective is when only one person thinks that way. Objective is multiple person see the same things in same manner.
Okay.
That is objective, and that won't change from person to person. Basically, it will pass some tests, etc. So that is why it will be objective.
Okay. Anybody else? No.
But any experience which is verifiable through some data or experiment can be called as objective.
Okay. And what is subjective?
Subjective is like it is already told, it is based on somebody's thinking or idea which may not be verifiable. That can be called as a subjective, like some hypothesis which is not proven by some experiment. It is only an hypothesis that can be a subjective thing.
Okay. Somebody also raised their hands.
Subjective is when a person thinks or like according to their own personal thought and realization, and objective is when there is a material in that thing and we can like it tells us that it is already like it is present in really like that.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So there are now two terms, yeah, object and subject. So so here object is something that we perceive, yeah, or that is there. So it is real and existing, independent of our perception of it. So the stars are there. Either we believe it is there or not. Either we see it from our bare eyes or not. But it is there. So it's a real and existing, independent of our perception of it. Then the subject. So if I see the star, I am the subject. I am the observer. Now it's upon me. Do I believe the star is there, or is it just a flight going above, or something else just glowing, or something that is not glowing? So the thing here is subjective versus objective. It's the point of view, yeah, just the point of view. So subjective experiences can vary depending on the observer, but objective facts cannot be different depending on who observes them. Okay, so I think I made sense, and obviously all of you are saying basically the same thing in a, yeah, so all were correct essentially. And then there is topic of materialism and idealism. So yeah, this also I think if some of you can share your thoughts, maybe what's materialism and idealism.
Everything is material based. That is materialism. And idealism, actually material doesn't exist. It is all our, what do we say? It is in our mind. It's actually not some supra-material kind of thing.
But like with example, maybe you can, it will be easy to us to understand.
So materialism is all, frankly, all scientists, what they think, like, easy, whatever we can touch, feel and everything, that is your material. You can convert, you can measure it, it has mass, that is material.
Okay. Okay, basically matter is material, material comes from matter. Okay, but what is materialistic thought? Like what does it mean?
That materialism means that everything is there, even we don't get it. Like if even if we are not seeing it, it is there. That is materialism. And idealism is when we think it is there and then we see that it is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like materialism is when independent of our consciousness, and in idealism we think about it consciously and then we see it.
An example or so?
For materialism, so suppose there is a spoon.
Okay.
The spoon is going to be there even if we don't see it, but then we see it and we call it materialism, so we saw it. And idealism would be that we think that there is a spoon and then we see it, I think.
Yeah. So it's just as I say, it's the point of view. Yeah, it's first. So it is something that whether the material is triggering that thought or whether the idea is making that matter exists. So it's like I have a handkerchief which is red in color, okay, which is red. So now so what will the idealist thinks on it?
Probably that there is a red colored handkerchief.
Mm-hmm.
And the materialistic person would think that there is like the handkerchief is radiating, like it is radiating the red color, that's why it's red.
Yeah. But then the idealists will think that there is no inherent redness. Yeah, it's just how we perceive it. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what I thought is ideas are created in human brains. Yeah, but material is something that is existing. It doesn't need our consciousness to exist. Like the exoplanets, yeah, they are existing. We are not able to perceive them. We are not able to understand we are not able to detect their existence. But in a sense, we know that okay, they may exist. They may be discovered after some times. Like for example, the gravitational waves, yeah. They were hypothesized and they were thought like they are existing from long back, but now we are going it. The same like now also there was this God particles being discovered, yeah. So they were essentially some scientists had told that okay, these are something that exists, but these were very recently only discovered. Okay, we could have perceived very recently out of that. So there is a thought like materialistic or idealistic. So it's like that. So then we come for causality. Okay, what is causality then? It's one of the important like doctrines in science, like causality. Causality is one of the important parts, and it forms one of the important pillars in science. Because science is essentially based on causality. Because science usually tells that nothing happens without a cause. Yeah, that's causality. Nothing happens without a cause. That's why Newton asked why apple fall down. Yeah, that's the causality. Yeah. So there are a lot of things happening around us. You just have to be an observational mind and ask the question, and maybe that's the next thing. So causality essentially means there is relation between a cause and an effect, and nothing happens without a cause. Then there was Aristotle's idea, yeah, which essentially he had essentially 4 causes. He defined 4 causes. Can anybody explain those? Okay, so here the first cause, yeah, the first cause is the material cause, wood. So the thing is, we are making a dining table, yeah. So the dining table would not have been possible without the material cause, the wood. So wood becomes the first cause. Second is the formal cause. Formal cause is the design. So when we are starting from the wood and we have to design a dining table, we will have a design in mind, a form in our mind. So that's the second cause, the formal cause, the design. Then the efficient cause is somebody like a carpenter. Carpenter is the third cause, who essentially will make that dining table. And then it's the final cause, which is why it will be used for dining or something. So these are the four causes. Then came some other thoughts also. So I won't go what are the cons or pros of this causality arguments, but essentially I'll just go on the summary. But then there was Hume's thoughts that if there are two events A and B, so they should have, if they are A and B have causal connections, so there will be three parameters. First is precedence, that A must precede B in time. Then there is contiguity factor, A and B must not be widely separated spatio-temporally. And then constant conjunction, A and B always occur together. So if anybody wants to tell what are the why it falls in some conditions, they can mention it. Precedence, if somebody wants to tell about precedence.
Cause has to happen first. Reason has to happen first. If you want to, for example, if you want to heat the milk, so
Okay.
first we have to give the heat, and then the milk will, it will convert into rabdi.
Okay.
So the cause is first, heat is the cause, and then it has to, A must precede B.
Okay.
Maybe
But then
this.
when it falls, like it doesn't fall, like doesn't agree this, or
Maybe.
Hume's thoughts are not
Okay.
following these things. When does it happen? Essentially, for most of the time, it happens. Like most of the causal connections, that's how the philosophers came to this. But in some conditions, they do not agree. Right? Like I'm expecting some examples maybe from the real or daily life, where you can say it.
They actually sometimes happen nearly at the same time. Nearly at the same time. So one example I think I read there was if you throw the ball, then it makes an impression.
Okay.
So hitting and impression have happened nearly at the same time. Actually, we know that if we go to minute of the minutest fraction of second, then hitting will happen first.
Correct.
But actually, this A precedes B is not very correct there. Both happen actually together.
Okay. Yeah.
Nearly together.
And then you are telling this as precedence, yeah? Okay.
For the contradiction to the first one.
Okay. Second one, contiguity.
One example could be, no, but I may be wrong. If you plant the seed, okay, then the cause is all the conditions for growing of the tree, which will include water, air, and everything. But its growth actually is not immediately; it will be after a few years. So it doesn't. They are widely separated. They are not widely separated, but here they are widely.
But growth is a continuous process, yeah. The plant is always growing. Yeah.
Okay.
We can see it
Correct.
growing. Yeah. So we can contiguity. One example is maybe the tides you get, yeah. So the tides in seas are mostly
I think the
related to?
previous example given by Mr. Nikhil, that the heating, you cannot separate out heat. So heat and the vessel in which the milk is being heated. So they are there's no specially, they cannot be separated. Unlike the tides, which is happening from the motion of the location or movement of the moon. But this particular example given by Mr. Nikhil about the heat. So the contiguity can be, taken. The example can be taken in this case, where heat and the vessel cannot be separated. That example can be given in contiguity. If you're looking for an example.
No, we are basically saying the pitfalls of this. So
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Mhm.
That's correct. In that case, the pitfall will be like you say that the tides. You rightly said the full moon and the that case.
Mhm. Yeah. Then for constant conjunction, A and B always occur together. No. So, for example, sometimes what happens is that when this was developed quite before, maybe in the early 800s, 1800s or so. So, if there that time, if there is a disease A, disease B, and A is used to treat it, most of the times, like if you are testing it with 100 patients, only 95 patients are getting treated. So at that time there was no tools for statistics or so. So what happens is A and B always occur together. That conjunction fails, because according to Hume's thought of causal connections, it should be that it 100% gives. But anyway, the statistics also was developed later. That essentially we will touch on this course. A lot of statistics will be there essentially. So that's the Hume's thought, but essentially these were stepping stone to Miles' thoughts of classification of causal connection, and these were very much scientific and very much detailed. And I think these were done in maybe in the end of late 1800s or early 1900 maybe. I'm not sure, but okay, that you can check maybe. But yeah, those are these are the four ones: method of concomitant variation, method of agreement, method of difference, and method of residues. So anybody would like to tell what is method of concomitant? I would like others to also join in the discussion. It's nice to hear other people's too. Yeah, please. Anybody want to tell what is method of concomitant variation?
Method of concomitant variation means if there are two entities, A or B, if whenever A is varying, B will either vary with it, like increase or decrease.
Okay.
So we can say that whenever A is varying, B is also varying with it. Doesn't matter up or down, it's just varying with it. So you can say that they have connection like between A and B.
Okay. Others agree? Cool. Method of agreement? Anybody?
Suppose A so A is happening. Let's say A is happening,
Okay.
but the procedure of A happening is different. But in all the cases there is one factor which is common.
Okay.
So we can say that is like the causing factor or agreeing factor for that happening. The procedure is different, just that one quantity is present in all the processes for A to happen.
Maybe the procedure word is maybe somehow different, but
Okay.
instances, yeah.
Okay.
Instances is a better, I think, better factor, yeah, better word. Maybe. But anyway, if everyone is okay, is it, everyone understood? Cool. Then method of difference. So it's kind of opposite of method of agreement. So yeah.
In one case it happens, in another case it doesn't happen. Suppose
Okay.
event there, it happens, it does not happen, though the conditions are same in the conditions are same. So I think that is the method of difference. Like one example given in the during the lecture was
Okay.
the whether we are, the condition A may be differ along event A. So event B happens in one case, event B does not happen in another case. That is the condition.
Okay. Yeah. And then method of residues.
A event happens whether there are 3-4 conditions which are there, but there is another condition which is also there, which is called residue. So that
So
there condition.
how do we know what is residue?
Because in the case where we have seen that three elements are there, suppose it is a PQR, but there is another element which is affecting the event, so that element which is not there, which is residue effect.
But then we have to know, yeah, what is the residue and what are the, like, we have to define first the residue. Yeah. So if you have PQ that I was telling,
Yeah.
then out of the which one is the residue, essentially we have to determine that. Yeah.
Suppose like the example given in the Madame Curie's example of radioactivity,
Okay.
where when metal was tested, where the content of the total radioactivity was known, and the total element of the radioactivity of the elements PQR was known, but there is another when they found that the total radiation is more than what is there exactly of the PQR. So that PQR minus the total was the residue. So that element is the residue effect, we call it.
Yeah. So basically the residue is which one is so the residue is something which we do not have a previous
Knowledge. That's
about.
correct.
Yeah,
That's
that's
correct.
what I was expecting.
But
That's
it is there, but we don't know what is that element.
Yeah.
That is very
yeah,
correct.
that's the unknown one.
Unknown one. That's correct.
Which,
That's
yeah, the other factor is we should have prior knowledge, and then we then can selectively only study the
And I think
residual or
the
the
most important condition is that we are not aware of that particular thing, but it is happening in the total system. Like we are aware that there are 3 elements which are affecting, but there's the 4th element which you are not aware. So that residue effect it is giving. I think that is the right said, which you are not aware of that particular material or the element. That is method of residue.
Perfect. Biswa, you want to add in something?
Sir, actually, can you please give some good example between this method of agreement and difference? Because in my opinion, both are same. It is defined in different way. Is it so?
Which one?
Method of agreement and method of difference.
Okay, actually we have some good examples in the problem solves. If it, I think it would be good. Like I have added some examples, and yeah, those are some problems. So yeah, I hope that will be helpful maybe. If
Yeah,
the
because
problem
as per the statement, it is just defined in a different way, but it is the same thing, in my opinion.
yeah.
If you can clarify it.
Anybody would like to add in what's the difference between method of agreement and method of difference? Yeah, anyone?
In method of difference. Method of difference, one example given in that one radioactive element, when it is put in the sun, it was radiating, energy, but when it was kept in the dark, still it was radiating. So the event is happening, but the conditions are different. They are. So I think that method of difference is there. The same material, but in the different condition, it is having the same effect of radioactivity, what you call. So I think that example, I don't know whether this is correct or not.
Okay, maybe we'll go for some like easier one. So, for example, speaking of method of agreement, if we have multiple instances, where we have only one thing common. So there will be multiple things here, but we have only one thing common, A. Maybe factor A common. Okay, here maybe it is A, X, Y, A, P, Q, A, M, N. Here everything A has in different instances. So at this condition, the effect B occurs. Then we can say that A and B are causally connected. That's the method of agreement. Okay. Then similarly, in method of difference, what it is, we have multiple instances. Okay, we have multiple instances, but that thing only occurs when A is there. For example, we have X, Y, A, P, and M, N, but the effect, the B, only arises when A is there, or maybe you have to do like P would be there in this condition also, or this also, but then you can say only when A is there you get the effect of B. So that's the method of difference. But these are theoretical explanations. I have some questions, I suppose, which will be, so there we have to identify what kind of causal connections are established here. So that will be more easily perceivable, I think so. Yeah, Vishwa, this will work.
But sir, here, suppose effect of A is unknown, then it can be treated as a method of residue also. In the method of difference, whatever example you have given, suppose out of P, X, Y, or P, A, P, P, M, N, whatever, all the causality
but for
is
method
known.
of residues, you need the first three methods usually has to be checked. Then only you have method of residues, because method of residues essentially tells that you need to have knowledge of other parameters.
Okay.
So that's the method of residues. That's needed for method of residues. You should have, if you have multiple parameters, you should have knowledge about other parameters. That's needed.
Except one.
Except one, or maybe it's multiple also is possible. Multiple residues are also possible sometimes, but So, but you need to have some knowledge, because that's why these first three are the primary ones, and then comes the method of residues. Method of residues essentially will always have some supporting information from the first three methods. It's usually like that. Like I believe
there will be some known unknowns, then only this method of residue is applicable.
Some causal connections should be already established to put method of residues.
Okay.
Okay. So there we go for some problems. So please be free to discuss, debate, answer, unmute. It's fully like that. We are free to guesses, so no issue. So this is the first question. You open the morning's newspaper and have an urge to read the horoscopes segment. Interesting predictions you muse. If only making predictions were possible. You fold up the paper and go about your day. To your surprise, by the night time, you find that many of the predictions have come true. What should your reaction be as a student of research methodology? So these are some of the options. Yeah. So you are free to discuss, free to write your answers, yeah, whatever. So the thing is, yeah, this can be multiple right, multiple correct. So this is not like this is not like a typical MCQ question. Yeah, I just have made it on my own. So those can have multiple things.
B and
Maybe
C.
it's
B and
maybe.
C.
Okay. B and C. Okay. Okay. Others, please. So each question maybe we'll have around 5 or so minutes. Then again we can go for the next one. Okay. Okay, somebody can answer why is it so? Why you think so?
I think B and C is the most appropriate one.
Okay, maybe first start with B. Yeah. Is it real that we see like that usually? Anybody would like to answer? Why is it B, C?
B is more precise because generally they are very vague.
Okay.
So most probably the words are vague, and it may be just a coincidence that what has happened is matching with that. Tomorrow it may not happen. It happens many times. Like in my case, he says today you will have some problem with the leg, but same day I fractured my finger. So maybe it was my mistake, was because my mistake. But if I thought that it is because of the prediction, that may not be correct. So it is like this. It is just vague that something happens. It is common to all. It can't happen that same prediction will be true for everybody. It is just coincidence that this has happened to me, and I thought that prediction is correct. It may not happen tomorrow. It is the day. It is on that particular day it has happened. So you can say that it is a coincidence. Tomorrow it may not happen. So you cannot say that horoscope was indeed telling truth. It is a common to all. If it is made particular with your horoscope, it's okay. But generally, newspaper is common to all.
Common to all, yeah.
If you
So
say,
yeah, B
you say
is essentially,
horoscope,
yeah, B is
Yeah.
essentially correct. Next answer C. Everybody is saying C. C, why it is?
Your human mind is likely to find out similar things and remember only like something like Murphy's law.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go out, I do not get the auto easily.
Mm-hmm.
That is a Murphy's law. But actually it happens because human mind remembers only those difficult instances.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to forget when we get it easily. So in a similar way, human mind tends to find out the similarities between the horoscope and what has actually happened, and it tends to forget or ignore where it has failed to locate, means predict.
Okay.
That's why I had said B and C.
Rushali has raised her hand. Want to add in something? Okay, I think it was a mistake. Okay. So yeah, C is also correct. And somebody told D, maybe D. So essentially D is also a correct one. Being a scientific student.
Yeah, D will. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yes, sir. That's what the B and C. Yeah, those are the predictions, and mostly it will go towards the biased thing. Actually, if you want to find the thing, what happened like that, we have to go unbiased in the sense like before reading the newspaper, we have to finish the day, and the end of the day when we recheck it actually whether it is like meeting that things or not.
Yeah.
So then we can come to the definite conclusion saying like it is appropriate or not.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that way, yeah.
Yeah, correct. So that was the answers. Hopefully everyone agreed. And yeah, then we can go for problem 2. I think we kind of discussed this. Which of the Miles methods did Madame Curie employ to conclude that uranium is radioactive? So can anybody first tell what was the experiment, as in like, yeah, maybe if the read starts, I can then delve in and answer what it is. So yeah, can anybody?
It was related to radioactive material.
Okay, yeah. So she studied
find out, yeah,
what causes radioactivity.
Yeah.
So what she studied then?
Uranium and radium. She had taken uranium and plutonium, where she had taken some chemical and by method of
Okay, let's first discuss maybe the experiment, then we can go on to the method.
Okay. She was trying to find out what portion of that chemical actually causing that. I think in the photographic plate, right? That much I remember.
So
actually the material I don't know, but what happened when they found that the material is exposed to the sun, it is radiating some energy, and it is when exposed to the photographic plate, it is getting exposed. And same thing happened when it was kept in the shelf for 15 days when there was a cloud. So why this is happening? That was the reason Madame Curie found out that this is called radioactivity, which is affecting the photographic plate. I think that was the start of this experiment. Why this is happening? Why photographic plate being exposed to the particular material is getting developed. So that was the reason when Madame Curie found out that there are two radioactive elements which are doing it. But what she did was, when she found that around the world, whatever the materials which are there, she found that apart from these two materials which she found that still there is a radioactive element happening. And third, I think that method of residues, when I was talking about the last material which she got, when she found that the total sum of the radioactivity which she knew, but what the radioactivity from that particular element was coming was more than that. So and that we were not aware, like you said last time we discussed. So method of residue was used to find out the fourth radioactive element. I think that was the
first. Maybe let's discuss the experiment. Okay, we'll go to the question. So what causes radioactivity was a question that was essentially developed because of Becquerel. Yeah, he was before Madame Curie. He was working on material called as potassium uranyl sulfate. Perfect. So what happened is Curie saw that this compound is a source of radioactivity. Yeah. So what she did is she took different amounts of potassium, uranyl, and then sulfur, and then she checked the radioactivity of it. So she only saw that when there is uranium present, there is radioactivity. Okay, this was the first thing. Then what she did is she also did what was, and she took different compounds. Yeah, she took different compounds, and she saw that when there is uranium more in these compounds, there is more increase in radioactivity. So these were the two experiments taken. So now on depending on these experiments, now you have to tell which are the methods that she adopted.
Agreement.
Okay, so the agreement in which one? Just explain me the case.
Wherever. So in multiple things,
Mm.
the common thing was uranium.
Okay,
Yeah.
In fact, in one case, first case was method of agreement, and the other case was method of difference. When she separated the uranium from that compound, she found that still that compound is radiating some radioactivity. So that was the method of difference that in that second case.
Yeah, Bishwa Jyoti, you want to ask?
Yeah, actually, the first experiment, it is method of difference,
Yeah, perfect.
because whenever uranium was present, then only this radioactive was there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the second method is a method of concomitant variation, because the amount of radiation was varying with the quantity of uranium.
Perfect. You had now you are like clear with this?
Yeah, it is a little bit clear now. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody would like to add in something, or we are good to go? Yeah. You have raised your hand. Yeah.
It was the same thing, sorry.
Yeah. Sure. No issue. Yeah. Then we can go ahead. Maybe. Yeah. Problem 3. What causes a candle to light on fire? Exit ignition temperature, presence of oxygen. A and B individually causes. A and B taken together is the cause.
A and B together, like the last option.
C, D option, A and B.
Okay. Let's wait a bit. Let people answer in the chat maybe.
A and B taken together, yes. So actually, I think these A and B create a condition which is necessary for the fire.
Okay.
I think it's a fire triangle. You need three things. You need heat, you need oxygen, and you need the material. If three things are there, then only fire will occur. This is the fire triangle it is called. So in this case, if there is no oxygen, there will not be any fire. If there is no heat, there is no ignition, so there will not. So D is the correct answer. And you need a material to put fire. So there are three things. Three things are important for a fire to happen. This is called fire triangle.
Okay. Yeah. So the correct answer is, yeah, we have to have both ignition temperature and also the oxygen, which is essentially needed for combustion. Yeah. So for lighting a fire, lighting a candle on fire. So we'll go ahead then. So a study is conducted to determine if a new drug is effective in treating a certain condition. The researchers randomly assign half of the participants to receive the new drug while the other half receives a placebo. So everyone is clear with placebo, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Then maybe you can maybe tell what it is. Maybe.
It's just like when you are giving injection, instead of giving vaccine, give a glucose, so that the person will feel that he has got a vaccine, but actually it's not a vaccine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and in
So
the
it's kind of a control. Yeah.
Yeah.
The researchers then compare the outcomes of the two groups to determine if the drug is effective.
Yes.
So you have to tell which is this method, which method is incorporated here. Out of Miles' 4 methods, which method is incorporated here?
I think method of difference. I think in one case event B is happening, in one case event B is not happening. But the
Correct.
prevailing
I also think so. It's method of difference.
method of difference.
Okay, let's let others chip in and wait.
It could be method of agreement also,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that the group we have given the medicine.
Okay.
So if the effect is happening to the group, that means A is the cause.
Mm-hmm.
But factor A is common to all, so drug is same to all. But we are giving placebo to one group and we are giving medicine to one group, where condition A is not same for all. A is the reason. So we cannot say that method of agreement is the correct. Event B is happening different, but A is same for all. It says in one case event here A is different. One is medicine, another is a placebo. I think method of difference will be the right thing, where event B is happening but it doesn't it's not happening in another case.
Others, are you getting the question or?
Yeah, method of difference is the right answer, I think.
Okay. So yeah, it's the method difference. The difference here is created by the drug essentially. So yeah, then we can have outcomes if the two groups, if the drug is essentially something that makes difference or not. Yeah, because essentially we are only checking the effectiveness of that drug. So in that case, the drug is something that essentially should or may make the difference or not. So that's the method incorporated here. Similar, a medical researcher is studying the cause of a certain disease. She collects data on the symptoms and medical history of a group of patients who all have the disease. She finds that all of the patients had a similar exposure to a certain toxin and attributes this agreement to a causal connection between a toxin and the disease. What method of connection is being established between this toxin and the disease? Hopefully everyone understood the question. Yeah, if you have doubts in the question, you can type it. Yeah, I'll try to explain it once. So I had run
I think method of agreement, because here it's happening to everyone in many studies, and the factor A, that is the toxin, is same for all. I think method of agreement should be the A is common to, because it says that everybody was exposed to the certain toxin which may causing this disease. So A or the cause is this toxin.
Okay, let's see. So I believe everyone here is from science, or there is some people from social science or humanities. Is there? Or everyone is from science? If somebody is from social science or so, can they mention it in the chat? Yeah, I see from the poll that we have, I don't know, everyone has not voted though, but we have, okay, somebody has raised their hand. Yeah. Wanted to add something or? Answers, please, anyone?
I think for this problem, wouldn't method of concomitant variation apply? Because she found a relationship between the toxic and the disease.
Okay, why so?
It's written that she found that all patient had the similar exposure to a certain toxin, and so like if everyone had a exposure and everyone is having the disease, that means it is a concomitant variation.
But concomitant variation tells that there should be a variation when the variation is present. Like when there is variation in A, there should be a variation in the B.
Because there is no variation in the exposure.
Yeah.
Because they say similar exposure, so we cannot have the concomitant.
Yeah.
The method of agreement is more because cause and effect, the cause toxin is same in every case, and the event B is happening. So that is the effect is happening to all. So I think that is the method of agreement. And it is happening in every
So
situation.
the amount of toxin is different for everyone. Is that
Yeah,
the meaning?
like that they have already mentioned. Yeah, that they have
Okay.
been exposed
Sorry.
to a similar
Sorry.
exposure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but that was a nice discussion. Others?
I think method of agreement will go.
Okay. So yeah, this is basically on Miles' method of agreement that most of you were telling. But lot of very less people are essentially uh, answering it. I don't know if the questions are. I hope so the questions are okay. Though I have made it, there may be some errors. So that's why I was telling. If there are some doubts, you are free to ask. Also, the answers may be sometimes may be wrong, sometimes may be right, but it's all about the discussion that we do. So yeah, that's why I was asking whether we have some humanities or social science students, because yeah, I thought I will put this one because last time when I was doing the course, there were some students who were from social science. But anyway, a sociologist is interested in the effects of a parental involvement on the academic performance. She compares the grades of two groups of students, one group with highly involved parents and other group with less involved parents. She finds that the student with highly involved parents have higher grades and attributes this difference to the parental involvement. What is the Myers method incorporated here?
I think the one concomitant. Because the more attention is given, there is a higher grades. Less
Yes.
attention, less grade. I think the first one concomitant.
Concomitant. Yes, I also agree.
Okay. Others?
Yeah, I think for this one there are two groups, and one is obviously having relationship with higher grades. So yeah, concomitant variation.
Okay, let's wait for others to. If others have, we will wait maybe two or so minutes. Okay. Oh, somebody has replied A. I don't know what A is. Yeah. Is it method of agreement you are saying? So, Okay, you all told about its concomitant, but the factor here is we don't know about the marks. Yeah, we don't know about the grades. Yeah, is so there are only two divisions made here, which are higher grades and lower grades. But there is nothing as like A, B, C, D, or how much involvement given. So when we don't have that data, it's very difficult to tell whether it's concomitant or not. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah. So here, yeah,
I
yeah,
have
please.
a question.
Yeah.
So, for it to be a method of concomitant variation, we need the particular data of everything that we
Yeah.
can see the
Yeah.
I think we
variability.
will.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, sir. I think we will need in that case kind of a graph.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which will show
Because we
that
need to see
this
the
percentage and this is
variation.
varying.
Because
Yeah.
concomitant, the method tells the method of concomitant variations. You have to study the variation, and more or less, it's like here what we study, what we are seeing is black and white. Yeah. Either it's on or off. It's like that, off or on. Just higher
Sir,
grades or lower grades. There is
sir,
nothing like.
sir, I have one question here, sir.
Please. Yeah.
Sir, in case we are saying the method of difference, here we are saying that the effect is happening in case it is happening, in another case it is not happening. But the condition prevailing before is same. So, are you saying that the condition before both are same, because one is, when you're saying the two groups of students were highly involved parents, there are no conditions are not same for both the cases. So I have a difference of opinion here. Maybe you are right, but
No. That's open to discussion. Anyway.
but here the conditions prevailing before for the cause are not same. What I am saying is that one condition is there, one parent is giving more attention, other parent is not giving attention. So conditions are not same here. So you are saying yes, event B is happening differently. The effect is different in both the cases. In one case there are higher grades, one case lower grades. But you are saying that both parents are giving equal attention. Is it the same condition you are talking about? Then it's okay. Otherwise, but here you are saying that one parent is giving more attention, other is giving less attention. So I don't think that the conditions prevailing are same. If it was so, then yes, in case of method of difference was applicable. But first one concomitant was there, where one is reducing, other is increasing, like this. One increases, other increases or reduces, both ways, plus minus. So if me I giving more effort, parents are giving more effort, the grades are increasing, and the effort is less. So maybe you are right, maybe more information and knowledge, but
No, nothing like that. We are always open to discussion. But the
my
thing
point
is,
was this, that the conditions prevailing are not same. That is all. Yes, you are right. The effect is different, but is it okay to say that conditions prevailing or the cause is same?
yeah. So the factor here comes because in the question you see, there are two groups. There are two groups. One group with highly involved parents, and other group with less involved parents. So here we have categorized the data. We have categorized the data by giving them two parameters depending on parental involvement. When we characterize the data in the form of groups, we have now only the factors now, the effects or the causes now. So now parental involvement is a cause, in which one first cause is highly involved parents and second group is less involved parents.
Okay.
Now in highly involved parents, there will be some in which will have more highly. In highly also you have higher than somebody, maybe medium involved or less highly involved. Similarly, less involved also there will be multiple factors, the multiple groups inside. But when the sociologist studies it, she studies it in form of two groups.
That's correct. You are right, sir. You're right.
And
Because the
then
condition prevailing may be deprived, maybe
But
those conditions may be different. But
Correct.
here you are saying groups, so maybe
Correct,
yes,
correct.
you're right.
Correct.
So condition prevailing was that one is deprived group, another is a rich group. So in that case, we could have said that first condition is there, but rightly said. You're right, sir. You're right. Groups are there. Yeah. Yes.
Sure. We'll go ahead then. Yeah, I think it is clear. So which of the following is not a method for establishing causality?
I think A, observational studies is not a method of establishing causality.
Okay.
Because in observation, we are not establishing, we are just observing what is happening. But in randomized control trials or case trials, trend analysis also, when we study the trends, we see the reasons, we find out why, suppose sales are increasing, why trend sales are increasing, we cause and effect we study. So maybe in observation study, we don't only we observe and make a report. I don't know. That is my take.
Others? Okay, maybe somebody can answer what is observational study then. That's a nice thing. What's an observational study?
Observation studies means a person is sitting and observing the behavior of a group or a population and notes down what is there in a particular the
Then how it
people.
is different from experimental study?
Experimental studies you are doing in a controlled environment. You are in a lab, you are doing experimental studies. Here the observation studies, the environment is not controlled. You are in the people, there are no, the environment is not controlled. So what people are doing, you are observing how they are behaving in a situation and what they are doing for a particular that's it, the observational studies. But in experimental studies you are doing the cause and effect. If I add this chemical to this particular compound, what is happening, what reaction is being happening. In that case, in experimental studies we do the cause and effect studies, not in observational studies.
Okay.
So in observational study, we just observe, we do not manipulate anything. But in experimental study, we manipulate something and see the results.
As in manipulation means?
Manipulation we do.
Okay. Yeah, for example, observational studies are something that we don't do the experiments, as in like the data is there in the world, we just observe it, yeah, and use it for our studies. Whether in experimental, essentially we design the
Experiments.
design the conditions, yeah, and see it. But observational studies is very important kind of study, because every time we can't design an experiment for everything, yeah. Experimental observation studies are one of the important factors in maybe like the social science domain, or
but you need to see whether it is cost effective or not, because you need lot of people, budget, money, etc. Because there are when you are sample, how large is the sample when you're doing observational studies. So it depends how much money you have got. In another case, what you have to do is then do the experiments.
No, experimental studies can also be costly. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, coming to the question, yeah, maybe you all can see what's observation. I am also not much clear, but yeah, that's what I know.
Yeah, this observational study is that the previous question itself was observational study.
Yeah, kind of. It was a kind of that only I was thinking. Was it? Most of the social science studies will be observational study. Yeah, most of them essentially. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so yeah, what's the answer maybe?
A.
I think case control studies, because like they are used to show the relationship between certain things, right? They're not showing you how or why.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's just a guess. Sorry.
Yeah, no issue. So we don't have supporters for B and D yet.
Sir, I guess it is randomized control trials. The reason is RCTs mostly will be looking for the effect, how the effect will change or it's not changing or something. Mostly in RCTs we won't see for the causative factors. We will be giving certain kind of, say for example, experimental studies, we will be giving some kind of intervention and we will always look for the effect actually. But observational studies, case control studies, up to my knowledge, mostly observational studies that too, mostly will look for the causative factor. Which one causes this? For example, if a patient is having diabetes, whether the physical inactivity causes the diabetes or obesity causes the diabetes, we'll do some kind of retrospective or prospective studies and we'll look for the causative factor. So that's classical example for observational studies. But RCTs mostly it's like experimental.
Placebo-based effect that we were studying, like in some questions before, that was kind of a randomized control trial, yeah.
So this is just my view. So
Yeah. No issue. No, just asking. Just asking.
Yes.
So yeah. So we have takers for A, B, and C. Do you have anyone who says maybe D also? It would be nice then. Anybody who would like to defend option D?
I do agree with randomized controlled trials.
Okay. For the same reason, or you have any other?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think the answer should be none of the above.
Maybe. But the answer essentially is trend analysis. Most of the time, when we have a trend, okay, it's above causality. So don't. I think you were not able to see it mostly because you were more focused on the Miles thing. Miles 4 postulates or 4 factors, but essentially we have something called as, I don't know, but correlation doesn't imply causation. It's just a thing that I wanted to leave you with. Just see it in lot of factors. The correlation, yeah, here we have a correlation. In trend analysis we see what, yeah, the patterns over time, but it mostly, in some conditions, the correlation doesn't always imply causation. And for establishing causation, you essentially need rigorous control experiments, rigorous statistics. It's always needed. Yeah. So okay, somebody asked which assignment are we discussing here. We're discussing the week 1 actually. Yeah. So yeah, maybe just see what it is. Maybe just look on how all 4 studies are. Yeah, we can discuss more on it.
Sir,
please.
sorry for interruption,
No,
sir.
no,
Sir, if you don't mind, the trend analysis, can you explain one more, sir? Because I'm unaware of it. I would like to learn about it. So, what is actually trend analysis?
So trend analysis, just like we discussed all of them. Trend analysis is just observing the patterns over time. You observe any patterns. For example, you are seeing the growth of a tree over time. Yeah, that's just trend analysis. That's the trend analysis. You just see something changing over time. That's trend analysis. The temporal The temporal data.
Like stock market or something like that?
Yeah, maybe that's also a trend analysis.
Okay.
But sir, when we are doing sales analysis for the trend analysis, why sales are increasing, why sales are decreasing, when the sales team is doing the brainstorming session, in case the sales are increasing, is it that the area is not, the area in which the sales are less is not accepting those products? Is it not the one of the reasons also the method for doing the causality or why this is happening, cause and effect analysis, trend analysis? You are saying the growing of tree, etc. But trend analysis we do in the sales also. The sales executives.
Yeah. Just I was just giving example. Maybe I'm not aware much of that, but
So
yeah.
because
Yeah. Maybe
during one
there
of the
are a
session
lot of
also I
reasons.
understood that trend analysis also one of the finding out the cause why the trend the sales are increasing or decreasing. So maybe just a idea for thought that
Correct.
maybe a reason for finding out the cause for it, because unless you do the trend analysis like COVID, the IIT made a mathematical model of the trend, what is happening, how when the peak will reach, etc. So they found out the reason why it is happening,
Yeah.
how the trend analysis will be, trend will be there, when the
Correct.
peak will happen, when it will subside, will come under. So they had a cause and effect, why this is increasing, why this will come down. So the trend analysis was done by using the mathematical model. So my opinion was that this in this case trend analysis is also a method for finding out the causality.
Yeah, but you only with trend analysis you can't do anything. You need solid control studies, solid
I know, same with
statistics.
the observational studies, sir. You observe something, but subsequently you have to do some, statistical analysis.
Yeah.
Why this is happening? So
Correct.
you have tools for everything. Like even in randomized control trials, you have tools. So a particular method cannot do alone the cause and effect analysis. You have to have a tools to do that. Same with trend analysis. I have got a sales data, or I have got a in this particular month so many patients were there. In next month so many patients will come because so many people are coming from the abroad. So those analysis will be there in the trend. So my submission was this. Maybe you have the point. So
No. Just cool.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just my motive was to
yeah.
make you all or decide or discuss that always the correlation is doesn't imply the causation. That was the
Okay.
kind of the home takeaway message that I wanted to give.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I told you to just think over it. Yeah, this kind of yeah, two of you have raised your hand. Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Can I give some opinion about trend analysis, sir? Hello.
Yeah, opinion as in like?
Trend analysis. Why this? The correct answer is trend analysis. So
It's not a method because, as I told, in trend analysis, what we see, whether how the pattern is changing over time. So, whether it is varying over time or not, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is some causation related to it. So that's why I tell that okay, something is correlating doesn't always mean there is a causation attached to it. But anyway, just see it. Yeah, we can discuss it later also. Yeah, just go.
Sir,
through.
here one more submission from my end. This trend analysis is one of the, we can say in general it may not be the way of causation, but the concomitant variation is also a trend analysis, which is
correct.
nothing different from that, right?
Yeah.
So that way we cannot say that it is not a method, but maybe in general it cannot be taken that way.
Yeah, generally it can't be taken. That's what it is. Yeah. I know. I put it that way because I know people will tell it from the method of concomitant and compare it with it, but with the current thought, it's always that the correlation doesn't imply with causation. That's what I wanted to make everyone aware of. Okay, we'll go ahead. Yeah. Okay, super. Which of the following best describes the relationship between the mind and the body according to materialism? Maybe answers in the chat. Because yeah, it's kind of a simpler answer. So you have to think like a materialistic person here now. B. The mind and the body are the same thing. Okay, nice. Okay, answers please. Okay, we'll go ahead then. So the answer is the mind is dependent on the body, but the body is not dependent on the mind. Yeah. So mind here essentially means the ideas or how we thought. Yeah. Think about something. The body is a physical entity. The body. So here we say that the mind is not dependent on the body, but the body, which is a physical form, is dependent on the mind. Yeah. Everyone agrees or? Somebody has written A. The mind and the body are separate entities with different properties. So for a materialistic person, mind, there is nothing called as mind. Yeah. For him, I think so.
Yeah, got it, sir. It's clear now.
Cool. So we can go ahead. Which of the following best describes the importance of subjective thinking? Okay. Yeah, most of you are correct. It allows us to make decisions based on personal beliefs, personal opinions and beliefs. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Which of the following is an example of subjective thinking? Sorry. Yeah. Yep. Then we can go and answer maybe. Yeah, that's the correct one. Most of you answered. Imagine a person who has a spiritual experience where they feel a sense of connectedness to something greater than themselves. What is the most likely explanation for this experience according to a materialist? Yeah. Yeah, I'll be sharing the PPTs. It will be available from the NPTEL portal. I think there will be a section as problem solving sessions, and then yeah, you can go on and see those. Plus, we will also upload the YouTube of this recording. So yeah, that's also will be helpful. I hope so. Okay, answers please.
D.
Okay, the answer is essentially the release of endorphins. Because now you have to think as a materialist, yeah. So endorphins are something that is well established, yeah, in as a molecule which essentially develops your with these are, so I won't go to the much technical, but these molecules determine uh, your feelings or your well-being, yeah. So though its concentration or its release can determine or can lead to experience something out of the mind, yeah, out of the world experience can be there because of the release of endorphins. So because yeah, here you have to see, you have to connect it with some materials or matter. So here the matter is endorphins, yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead then. A news outlet reports that a new scientific study has found that a certain drug can cure a certain disease. Okay. However, other news outlets have reported conflicting results about the efficacy of the same drug. In this scenario, what is truth? The truth can only be determined by reviewing the original study and its methodology. Yeah, correct. What is the relationship between organized skepticism and science? Yep. It is a tool. Science is a tool used by skeptics to investigate claims. Yeah. I think the next question also is similar. Is science synonymous with organized skepticism? True or false?
True.
Okay.
True.
Okay. Others?
Is organization true? Skepticism.
Actually, it's false. Those are not synonymous. Okay. Science is a tool, and organized skeptics is used to investigate claims. But organized skepticism also emphasizes critical thinking, reason, and the scientific method to determine the full truth of a claim. So those, it is not same. Science is just a tool.
But it is called organized, the gang of skepticism. Because everything what they do, look at say the skeptic, they're skeptic about the result.
Yeah, critics essentially. Okay. So that was the end for today's class. Okay. Yeah, we finished it almost 1.5 hour, 36 minutes.